Ah, Your Excellency. The Enlightened must have sent you. I would like to ask a favor of you.
I'm listening.
As you may be aware, we suspected this island might be the one St. Lucius wrote about.
Is that so?
We did, but let me explain. This island was where St. Matthias lived at the end of his life, and where he founded a perfect community. Some time ago, we created a village which we called Eden, following his example. We chose this place as it seemed to be the closest to the one described in the Holy Scriptures. It is a home to a community of converted islanders, accompanied and guided in their budding faith by our theologians. As you can imagine, it is of the utmost importance to us. All the more so because we discovered some tablets there, which were engraved by our founder.
An extraordinary discovery that confirms your suspicions.
I see you understand. Alas, these tablets were stolen, probably by the islanders who still reject our influence. I know that you are generally well accepted by the natives. That is why I was hoping that you could help us to retrieve what belongs to us.
I suppose I could go to Eden and try to retrieve them.
Marvelous. The leader of the community, Father Justinius, will be able to answer your questions. May the Enlightened assist you in this holy quest, Your Excellency.
Welcome to Eden, the lighthouse of faith, harmony, and civilization in these wild lands.
Thank you. De Sarde. I am the legate of the merchant congregation.
And I am Father Justinius. Delighted. And what may I do for you?
The Mother Cardinal has asked me to investigate the theft of these tablets you discovered.
That's excellent news. The loss of the tablets is a catastrophe. We have to find them at all costs. If you want to learn more about these tablets, you should go ask Sister Eugenia. She supervises the theologians who discovered them, and were also guarding them. You should find her a bit further in the village, with her colleagues.
Who are the suspects of this theft?
The heretical brutes of the village of Vedlug most likely had a hand in this. They must have wanted to please the demons they worship by stealing the holy word from us.
How could they have learned of the tablet's existence?
Perhaps the demons are giving them this power. Unless one of the natives living in the village innocently mentioned them. They are so naive. Either way, I am certain that the heretics are involved in this matter.
I must leave you. Goodbye.
May the Enlightened always keep you in their divine blessing.
I wondered how my people could accept the priests settling in their home like this.
It all seems a bit too convenient. If we find out some information about the history of Eden, maybe we'll change our view on things. The theft of the relic is probably not a coincidence. Father.
I'm glad to see you, my child. What can I do for you?
Tell me about how you created this village.
We did not create it from the ground up. It was built around an existing native village. The islanders called it Vigsenegad, which translates to the village of the old sage. We saw it as a sign. The natives had probably chosen this name in memory of St. Matthias, and everything here fit the description of St. Lucius. The discovery of the tablets proved us right. So, we decided to rebuild our Eden here, in the spirit of peace and harmony which is described in the scriptures.
Why share this village with the natives?
To replicate and resume the work of our founder, of course. If he came here and managed to convert the natives, then it is our duty to do the same thing. By living side by side with them, it is much easier for us to pass on our teachings.
How well do you get along with the natives who live here?
Very well, of course. Especially since those who opposed our presence left.
Left? To go where?
Oh, to other villages, I imagine. Does it even matter? Those who stayed are on the path of enlightenment. Some of their legends must have been about St. Matthias. That helped to convince them.
And how well have neighboring villagers welcomed you?
With some reluctance, to be perfectly honest. So, we sent them missionaries. There are still frequent conflicts with the village of Vedlug, a highly violent village of heretics. But the other villages, the more peaceful ones, are slowly starting to listen to the sacred word.
There are no Onol Manawi and no warriors here either. Did they all leave?
Perfect harmony takes time, my child. I have no doubt that one day we will manage to convince your kind to convert. But, in the meantime, we must settle for the miracle of great coexistence that this place already represents. Nobody thought we could live side by side with your people. And yet...
I must leave you. Goodbye.
May the enlightened always keep you in their divine blessing.
Hello. The Mother Cardinal asked me to help you find the tablets that were stolen. Can I ask you some questions?
Of course. But hurry, I have a lot to do.
The Mother Cardinal told me that this village had been developed on the basis of St. Lucius's writings. Are you one of the theologians who helped in its creation?
Yes. I was sent here to confirm that this place is indeed the one described in the writings, and then I stayed.
What was the reaction of the natives when you arrived here?
Most of them were not in favor of us living amongst them. They were afraid we might chase them out of their own village. And there were even more protests once we started talking about searching for traces of Saint Matthias. I suppose they thought we would destroy all of their raised stones and other places of superstition.
Were there any confrontations with the natives?
Yes. The warriors of the village attacked us. The Ordo Luminous actually had to intervene. The Inquisition managed to make them run away. The islanders tried to attack again with the support of Vedlug, but we stood our ground. And when Lur, the chief of the village, finally accepted our presence, things calmed down.
Thank you. This information will certainly prove to be useful. I talked to Father Justinius. He told me that you were supervising the theologians here.
Indeed. It is under my supervision that the research on Saint Matthias is conducted.
Whom do you suspect of being the thief?
Alas. I'm afraid there are many suspects. These tablets are priceless relics. Some settlers may have fallen prey to the lure of profit. The heretical natives of Vedlug may have wanted to take them away from us. Or it could have been vengeance by those who had to leave the village.
Where were the tablets the night they were stolen?
We were keeping them in one of the village's shacks. We intended to bring them to San Matthias later. But first, we wanted to examine them in order to obtain as much information as possible. You can go and take a look in the shack if you want to. But I couldn't find any traces of forced entry.
I imagine that someone was keeping watch over them.
Of course, we took turns guarding the shack. But some of us can't have taken the task that seriously. If I remember correctly, it was Brother Virgil who was guarding them that night.
Well, thank you for these pieces of information.
I am the one who should be thanking you. Especially if you managed to retrieve the tablets for us.
Thank you. I will let you work. Greetings. De Sarde. I'm handling the investigation into the theft of the tablets. Sister Eugenia told me to talk to you.
I'm Brother Virgil. What would you like to know?
Have you been in Eden for a long time?
2 months, approximately. Back then, there were still some pagan natives in the village. I joined Sister Eugenia's team with some of my colleagues, so we could give them a fresh outlook on things. We arrived straight from Ptolemy, hoping to study some new texts. But once we were here, I understood that my real mission was with the islanders. We must bring the light to this island.
You talked about a mission with the natives. What did you mean by that?
I may be under the command of Sister Eugenia here, but my superior is Bishop Domitius. Our mission is to banish pagan cults and convert the entire population to the light. The island belongs to Saint Matthias, and therefore to Ptolemy, since the god of light offered it to our founder.
If your superior's Domitius, you are a member of the Ordo Luminous. I did not expect to find one of its members side by side with the missionaries. They usually do not get along.
The Order goes everywhere the light needs to be revealed.
You have a very unique way of seeing things. I doubt everyone accepts it. How are your relations with the natives?
When I arrived, we were still trying to obtain information from them about Saint Matthias. But they were very reluctant to give us any answers. We were also trying to educate them. Our attempts eventually made some of the inhabitants of the village react badly. Most stubborn against our teachings, the warriors, and the marked. The ones the natives call the Onomanawi. They eventually left, and it has proved nothing but a blessing for us. I would like to go back to work now, if you don't mind.
Of course. According to your colleague, you were the one in charge of guarding the tablets on the night of the theft. Is that right?
Indeed.
What can you tell me about that night? Did you hear or see anything?
No, nothing in particular. The night was quiet, and then the morning after, we saw they were gone.
Someone had to enter the shack to steal the tablets. How did that happen?
I have no idea. The door was closed in the morning, and the lock was intact.
Do you suspect anyone in particular?
Not really. What I can tell you for sure is it is not one of us.
Well, Sister Eugenia did tell me that the tablets were priceless.
Of course. But our motivation is not the lure of profit. All that matters to us is their value as proof, not the money we could make out of them.
Do you think the culprit could be a native?
Well, since none of us did it, it seems obvious. There aren't many other settlers around here, and the natives knew of the existence of these tablets before we found them. They were attached to them too, in their own way.
They are the ones who led you to them.
Well, we conducted the research, but they helped us find where they were hidden. Some inhabitants of the village are still giving us a hand with our work.
Well, thank you. I will investigate where the theft took place.
As you wish. But you won't find anything there. And why does it matter, anyway? There were witnesses to the discovery of these tablets. We have all the proof we need. And that's all that matters.
What do you mean?
Now we can prove Saint Matthias lived here. Our actions on this island are justified. To keep rummaging the way Sister Eugenia does will only create more tensions with the natives.
I was not expecting a theologian to say such things. I will leave you to your work. Goodbye. I knew that the story would be more complex than we'd been told.
The priests separated this village into two parts. The exiles must be broken-hearted, having left their clan behind.
Had they been wiser and accepted their new neighbors, they'd never have been forced to leave.
Either way, the resentment here is strong enough for a theft to occur. There's only one entrance, and the door shows no evidence of a break-in.
This priest, Virgil, said that the night was calm. So calm that he probably fell asleep. So, the thieves only had to take the key from him.
It's very likely that that's what happened. But someone must have informed them. It can't be a coincidence that they decided to steal it during the watch of the only neglectful guard.
You think that the one who told them is in this village?
We know that this theft could be an act of vengeance by the natives who were forced to leave here. They must still have allies in the village. Family or friends. We should go talk to the chief of the natives. He will certainly know who's close to the exiles, and enough about the researchers to inform them.
Hello. I am Lair, the village leader. Well, I was the leader of this village.
Hello. De Sarde. I'm the legate of the merchant congregation.
There are Onol Manawi among the Logead Blau. I did not know that. What do you want from me?
I have heard a lot of things about this village of Eden, but I'd like to hear your version.
I'm not sure I have the answers to all of your questions, but I'll try.
Tell me about the arrival of the people of Teleme and how you received them.
The priests were roaming around the village. They were saying that it was the place where their saint had lived. They were asking questions, talking about the Lloyd and all these things. One morning they were building houses next to ours. And we had new neighbors.
The priests told me that they had managed to convert you. How did that happen?
As long as we refused to listen to them, they were violent, and they destroyed some of our sanctuaries. So we let them talk. And now that they think that we love their god, They leave us alone. Some of the things they say are beautiful, and their magic is impressive. But we do not forget our spirits.
One of the theologians told me that you had helped them in their research.
They wanted to find tracks of the old sage, of the one they call Saint Matthias, and they were rummaging through everything. Our Donegad did not want to tell them anything, because the old sage is sacred here. But since they violently interrogated everyone, I thought it wise to guide them to the place where the stones were.
What happened to your warriors? Why did they have to leave the village?
They did not accept the presence of the priests and their questions. They tried to retake the village. They even asked Deirdre, the chief of Vedlug, for her help. So, the priests called the Soul Lasser, the Burning Suns, and they killed many of them. I asked for peace, and the others left us. They wanted to join Vedlug. Perhaps they have done so.
Aren't you angry after all that happened?
No. I mourn those who died, of course, and the Vorstyrent. But this village may be our opportunity.
Your opportunity for what?
For the Renaigse to understand who we are. Not savages, nor monsters, but men, perhaps wiser than they are.
I think I know who stole the tablets.
Really?
I believe those who were exiled from your village seek vengeance because the missionaries forced them to leave. They must have taken the tablets, with the help of someone else who stayed here.
You may be right, but you may also be wrong.
You do well to tell me what you know. Once the priests have reached the same conclusions as I have, how do you think they will interrogate you?
You're probably right. The Inquisitors would come back, and my people would suffer. I do not want to break the peace that I did all I could to make. I think the name of the woman you are looking for is Vindwal. She helps the priests who seek the old sage.
If she's helping the priests, why would she betray them now?
Her son is one of the warriors who had to leave the village. He is filled with anger and fury. If you go talk to her, please, do not hurt her. She is but a mother who acted according to her son's wishes.
I have no intention of hurting her. But things may not be so simple when it comes to her son. I have to go.
Like so many others.
Greetings. Are you Vindwal?
Bertir Tumad. Yes, that is me. What do you want?
Listen, I know you helped the exiles to steal the tablets of Saint Matthias.
No, this is not true. It wasn't me.
There's no point in denying it. I know you did it for your son who had to leave the village.
If you know that, then you know that I don't have the tablets. So what do you want from me?
The only means of alleviating the situation with Thélème is to give the priests their tablets back. So if you do not want your son to suffer their wrath, it would be best if I could retrieve them discreetly.
Bran and the rest of the exiles are hiding in the woods, beyond the stone circle. If you want to take the tablets away from them without being seen, do not take the path on the left. It is riddled with traps. And please, do not hurt my son.
Here's the place that Vindwal indicated. The exiles must be near.
These people have been banished already. There's no need to add death to their list of punishments. Let's try not to fight them.
Don't worry, we'll be discreet.
Remember that we were told the area on the left was a trap. It would be smarter to take the other path.
Do it! What are you doing here?
I'm not here to fight you, but I must retrieve the tablets of Saint Matthias.
What? How do you know we have them? And how? Not Freddy. We will not give them back! We lost our homes and families, so the priests lose their sacred stones.
I know that you are seeking vengeance, but the priests will not be the only ones to suffer the consequences of your actions. Your mother helped you, and once they find out about it, she will pay the price in your place. Is that what you want?
No. She only told us which night we could come. They have no right to punish her for this.
I doubt the Ordo Luminis will care. They will need someone to take the blame, and she's the obvious choice.
Very well. Take the stones and leave. All that's left to do is to rejoin the Donea Exregao.
What are you doing here?
I was worried for my son. I wanted to make sure that everything was fine.
Don't worry, all is well. I managed to convince him to give me the tablets.
Ad Loredar, I did not believe my son to be so reasonable. You are giving me hope. I will go see him and tell him to find another clan. A place to welcome him.
I retrieved your relics.
Thank you. Thank you immensely. Thanks to them, we will be able to continue our research on St. Matthias.
I am curious to know who is responsible for this theft. The culprit must be brought to justice.
I do not want to point the finger at anyone. You have your relics back, and that's the only thing that matters.
Your indulgence honors you. But how can we be certain that these thieves will not strike again if they are not punished?
A good start would be to keep a better watch on the priceless treasures that you find.
Had you respected this village, you would not have to look for a culprit. You settled here without even asking those who lived here for their opinion on the matter. Instead of talking about harmony, start taking action to really make it happen.
But that is precisely what we desire more than anything. We may have been a bit clumsy in the beginning, but we'll make sure to improve things in the future. You really were a great help. I would be most grateful if you agreed to continue helping us.
I might come back at some point, but alas, I am very busy.
Naturally. Either way, we are certainly capable of continuing our research without you.
Actually, I must go back to my work. Our next expedition must depart as soon as possible.
Your next expedition?
Our brave researchers must continue to follow the tracks of our founder on this island. In the meantime, here, take this as a token of gratitude for the help you gave us.
Thank you. I hope your expedition will be a success.
Oh, there you are, Your Excellency. The Enlightened has heard my prayers.
What's going on? Where are the others?
After deciphering the content of the tablets, they went north to continue their research in some swamps. But they must have encountered problems. Brother Fidelis came back here, and he was in a dreadful state. He most likely came to seek help, but he fainted. It's impossible for us to know what happened to them.
I am not a doctor, but I may be able to examine him.
Oh, please do. Any help would be appreciated. We've done our best, but our magic has proved inefficient. And the healer we sent for will certainly arrive too late from San Matthias.
This man is burning up with fever, and he bears several bite marks and traces of blows.
The blows did not put him in this state. He looks like a victim of poisoning. With the right antidote, I think we could get him back on his feet.
Have you tried giving him any antipoison?
Of course, but to no avail. And what if it were a hex cast by the heretics?
No matter what happens, you always suspect them.
Why, of course. These savages are always to blame. The man was in the swamp. There are some rare animals there, and their venom is terrible. A healer from the area will know the antidote.
We could ask Lair. He will direct us to someone who understands remedies.
Onol Manawi, you've come back to see old Lair. I heard that you managed to retrieve the tablets.
Did Vindwal tell you?
Yes, and I feel more at peace, knowing that our brothers are alive, and that they will be able to join another clan. And you proved me right. Peace with the Renaigse is possible.
I need your advice. You may already know that one of the researchers came back wounded from the expedition.
I heard about it.
He has all the symptoms of a poisoning, but the anti-poisons we gave him had no effect. He must have been bitten by a creature of the swamp, and we're looking for a healer who would know of a suitable antidote.
So, you came to see me. Interesting. Our neighbors did not think for one moment that we could be helpful. Alas, our Donegad is one of the exiles. But Vindwal knows plants well. She will know.
Thank you. I will go see her. I hope she agrees to help us. Have to go.
Like so many others.
Here you are again. What do you want?
I have come to ask for your help. Lair told me you know about remedies.
I do know a few of them. I have learned about plants. I used to want to become a Donegad.
One of the researchers came back wounded from the expedition. Apparently he was bitten by a creature of the swamp.
And now he has the Llewellyn fever. We have a good knowledge about this affliction. He will die if he does not receive proper treatment.
Do you know which antidote should be given to him?
Yes. These priests are idiots. They could have asked for our help, but they treat us like children. You are different. And you have allowed my son to join a new clan. So, I will give you the potion to cure the priest. Wait a moment. Make him drink this remedy and he'll get better.
Thank you, Vindwal.
Where am I?
You're in Eden. You are safe.
Was I unconscious for a long time? The other members of the expedition, they are in danger. The swamp is so hostile. We weren't prepared for it. Some of our people have disappeared.
What caused these wounds?
A nightmarish creature. The swamp is full of them. A colleague and I had left to fetch some help when we were attacked. I managed to run away, but I don't know what happened to him. As for those who are at the camp, you must go help them.
Show me the location of your colleagues on the map. I will join them.
There. Please, hurry.
Thank you. You should rest now.
Will we all have to die in the name of your folly?
All I did was bring you to the place suggested by the tablets. I had no way of knowing.
Really? But I did warn you. You just wanted to have it...
Hey, what's happening here? I could hear you from miles away.
Your Excellency, I'm so happy to see you. You arrived right on time to settle this matter.
How did you manage to find us in the middle of this swamp?
Brother Fidelis managed to reach Eden. He's the one who told us where your camp was.
But he didn't leave alone. What happened to Father Orbricus, who was accompanying him?
He must be dead, like our other companions. This is all your fault. This is yet more proof that you are not fit to lead such a team. I should be the one in charge.
Maybe you should calm down and explain to me what's happening here.
This expedition was undertaken with no concern for common sense. We are not equipped to explore this type of place. Our people are disappearing, and all we have found are some falsified writings.
Brother Virgil is terrified, which probably explains why he is being so disingenuous. We have made incredible discoveries, and we could find more.
You are beyond redemption. I won't waste another second talking to you. If you want to talk to me, Your Excellency, it will have to be without her.
How charming.
Your Excellency, I hope you will forgive us for that scene. My relations with Virgil have always been difficult, but ever since we arrived here, it has been unbearable. I'm afraid we may need an arbiter.
Before anything else, I need to know what has led to this situation between you.
What would you like to know?
Brother Fidelis told me that several members of the expedition have disappeared.
Yes, that's why he left along with Father Orbricus to fetch some help. 3 more of our colleagues are missing, and I'm not even talking about the ones who fell ill. I must admit that I underestimated the hardships we would encounter. I made a mistake. I should have prepared this expedition more thoroughly. but Virgil's being disingenuous does not help.
And no one has searched for those who are missing.
I wanted us to search for them, but someone later convinced me that it presented too much of a risk. Along with lack of preparation, our constantly decreasing number, and creatures swarming the area.
And by someone, I suppose you mean Brother Virgil.
Indeed.
For what reason were you quarreling?
The expedition itself, I'm afraid. Virgil was always against it, especially under my supervision. For him, our discoveries in Eden were sufficient. They confirmed what he wanted. The rest did not matter. According to him, we should never have continued. And when we found new tablets, it became even worse.
Were they also written by Saint Matthias?
Without a doubt. The handwriting is the same. There are also some patterns, some islander symbols. It's fascinating. But what really angers Virgil is the content we managed to decipher. Our founder explains that he learned a lot from the islanders. Something our brother cannot accept. He now persists in saying that these tablets are fake, forged by the natives themselves.
I'm thankful for these pieces of information. But you understand that I will also have to talk to Brother Virgil.
Of course, that's understandable. You must hear us both before you can make a decision.
Brother Virgil.
What do you want?
Brother Fidelis told me that some of your colleagues went missing. Do you know anything about this?
They did not go missing. They were killed. It was the wild beasts, the diseases, and let's not forget the savages. We can feel their presence, roaming around the camp at night. I am certain that they are responsible for the death of our colleagues.
That's strange. There aren't many villages around here.
There aren't any. There are a few hermits, but they are not fighters. And they have better things to do than roam around their camp at night.
Those savages may very well have been following us since our departure. We will not be safe on this island until it is entirely converted.
I see. So, you haven't tried to find your colleagues?
So we can die as well? I am not as crazy as Sister Eugenia.
Can you explain to me what caused such a quarrel?
The reason for it is very simple. It is Eugenia's folly. This woman should never have been the supervisor of our team. The discoveries made in Eden were sufficient, but no. She didn't want to stop the research. She organized this expedition in a hurry, without taking elementary precautions, and now she's accepting as facts the delirious writings we discovered on these tablets without doubting them for even 1 second.
What do you mean?
We found some new tablets, allegedly written by Saint Matthias, but their content is so absurd that they were obviously forged. I am certain that the natives must have found these stones before us and modified their content.
How would they have done that? The natives cannot write.
They must have been helped by an unscrupulous settler. How would I know?
I cannot take sides in your quarrel for now. And in any case, it is not what matters the most. Even if you think they are dead, we have to try finding your colleagues.
Well, if you are prepared to take such a risk, I can only commend you for your bravery and wish you luck. But I would not get my hopes up. You should start by searching the excavation site. To get there, take the path south of here. But be careful. The creatures that roam the area are ruthless.
This poor soul was almost entirely devoured. He must have been killed by swamp animals. Even so, this wound looks different from the others. It looks like a knife wound.
You're right. He was stabbed before being fed to the animals. But anyone could have used such a blade.
It seems obvious now that these disappearances were orchestrated.
The deaths of these people were a deception. Only the Renaigse are deceitful enough to do such a thing. They kill each other and accuse my people. This Virgil, he wants to push aside this woman at all cost. He must be the culprit.
Indeed. I think that we should go find this brother and ask for an explanation. Brother Virgil.
Your Excellency! Weren't you supposed to be looking for our colleagues?
Indeed. I regret to say that they are indeed all dead.
I knew it. What a waste. Eugenia and her recklessness are to blame for this.
I'm afraid someone else is responsible for this. These deaths are not accidental, and yet they were disguised as such.
The savages! Their thirst for blood is unquenchable. I knew we should never have come without an escort.
Watch your tongue, priest. Our people have no need to hide when they protect their land. Only the Renaigse are deceitful enough to disguise a death.
Who else could it be?
Someone who desperately wanted this expedition to fail. Does that remind you of anyone?
Fine. You unmasked me. But know that my cause is righteous. The Ordo Luminis sent me to keep an eye on this expedition, to ensure that the discoveries we made would not jeopardize our nation or our presence on this island. But the inscriptions on the tablets are a heresy, a dangerous manipulation. Can you imagine what would happen if it was said that our founder listened to the teachings of the natives? But even then, foolish Eugenia accepted these discoveries as truth, without any hesitation, without realizing that our entire nation could suffer because of it. So yes, I wanted to scare her.
I understand that you might want to protect your nation, but to go as far as assassinating several of your colleagues...
Come now. What would you do if someone were threatening the congregation? You cannot make me believe that you would not be willing to kill. You may have already done so. But since you want to avoid using violence, help me convince Eugenia to go back to Eden. My colleagues and I know how to sort through these discoveries. And you will be rewarded, of course.
This Renaigse tried to blame my people for these crimes. The priests would have wanted to punish them, and innocent people would have died. He must answer for his treachery.
It is undeniable that these discoveries could cause a great upset in Taleme. But he has no right to decide what should be revealed or not. On this island, Cornelia should be the one to decide. Be careful with your accusations, though. Eugenia and her colleagues are on edge. We wouldn't want them to start killing each other.
Sorry, Brother Virgil, but I cannot accept. You will take your belongings and leave this place. The research will continue, and their discoveries will be studied by wiser people than you. The decision to reveal them or not will be theirs.
I see. My colleagues and I will go back to Eden. I hope that you don't regret your decision.
Alas, I have found the dead bodies of your colleagues.
How horrible! But how? Oh, perhaps I should have listened to Brother Virgil.
I doubt it. Brother Virgil is responsible for these deaths. He was hoping to blame the natives for them and discredit you.
What? But why would he? He will have to answer for his crimes.
As I do not have the authority to arrest him, I sent him back to Eden. If you want him to face judgment, you will have to report what happened to the Mother Cardinal.
You are right. As soon as we get back to civilization, I will make sure that she hears about it. Once more, your help has been a blessing. Take this. Alas, we will have to go back to Eden as well. There are too few of us to continue the research.
Were you hoping to discover more?
Of course. This place was but a single step in St. Matthias's journey. The last tablets speak of a journey northbound, further up in the swamp. But even if Virgil is no longer a threat, we are not sufficiently well equipped to go there.
We could go there for you if you wish. You just have to tell us where to look.
That would be marvelous. Of course, you would have to start from the excavation site where he wrote this. I think I noticed a path going north when I was there, actually. Look for any traces of life. Perhaps you will be lucky enough to find more of his writings. That would be fantastic.
Don't worry. I will conduct this research and come find you here if I uncover anything.
May the enlightened help
May the enlightened protect me in this battle. May the shadow engulf our enemies. May the shadow engulf our enemies.
A cavern. Hermits often choose places like this when they want to live away from the world. This is incredible. This place.
May the enlightened
These murals are magnificent. If St. Matthias did come here, this is where he must have settled.
Let's take a closer look at these paintings. We may learn something from them. This mural is very ancient. It depicts an old man dressed as a priest, getting his face painted by a masked native. This mural depicts an old man praying in front of a face in the mountain. He's holding a rosary. Saint Matthias, praying to Enon Milfrichtemen. I do not know these glyphs, but these spirals are native symbols. There are some words in our ancient language next to them. The light and the earth are the two faces of a same power. It's impossible to know if this is a translation or another sentence. But this is a message that would seriously displease the Inquisitors.
I cannot believe it. These symbols, they are signs used in the secret writing of the Donegada.
There are some native symbols here and some letters I recognize, as if someone had tried to write in the native language using our alphabet. Men duistad en on mil frichtemen.
It means, welcome us amongst your people, en on mil frichtemen.
This is incredible. Saint Matthias would have known about the spirit of the island and would have prayed to him. Engraved tablets. They resemble the ones we recovered in Eden. We should take them with us. The researchers would be delighted to study them. It looks like a chaplet made of pewter. It's rather basic, but it was made a long time ago. And it undeniably comes from the continent.
This is incredible. Saint Matthias is often depicted or described as using a similar chaplet. Oh, I feel so lucky to be here, in this cavern where our founder lived. I don't know if you realize the importance of what we've just discovered. Saint Matthias, the founder of Ptolemy, finished his life worshipping the islanders' god. This is so incredible. Although it will cause a huge upset for our nation, our cult, and our relations with the natives.
I wonder what I should do with these relics. Eugenia probably didn't imagine that Saint Matthias lived his life in a way that's so different from what they advocate. As for Virgil, he wasn't wrong. Such a revelation will certainly cause a schism in Ptolemy.
I understand you must be concerned. Great revelations are often followed by a trail of blood. But if what we found was revealed, my people could live in peace with the priests at last.
I already took sides in their quarrel. If I change my mind, I'm afraid that it might be seen as treason. I'll think about it on the way there. Let's go back to the researchers' camp.
So, did you find anything? Or do you need my help?
We discovered a cave that was inhabited a long time ago by a whole group of people, mostly natives, who had obviously created a sacred site, as the place was guarded by a creature.
And have you found traces of our holy founder? New relics? Perhaps some tablets?
There were also frescoes on the site, representing Saint Matthias.
Frescoes? Tell me more. This is fascinating.
He was shown having his face painted by a native. On another, he prayed to the god of the mountain.
You can't be serious. You mean to say that our saint converted to the cult of the islanders?
That is what emerges from our findings, yes. Other objects that I was able to bring back also point in this direction. Look, there are inscriptions. These tablets and also this chaplet.
This chaplet? I cannot believe it. It is so... Excuse me. I cannot find the words to express how I feel. You must come with me. We must go and present all these discoveries to the Mother Cardinal. You realize our entire dogma will have to change. So far, anyone who wanted to question it would have burned their fingers. Literally, alas.
And you think that this time they'll listen?
We have solid proof. All this evidence. With your support, we will convince her to reveal the truth.
I see. I will do my best to help you.
It seems we are arriving right on time. You did well to warn us, Brother Virgil.
Virgil? How did you know?
I'm afraid that Your Excellency's lies weren't very convincing.
We were informed of your discoveries and of the danger they represent. We demand that you hand them over to us immediately, so that they can be destroyed.
How can you even suggest the destruction of relics written by the hand of our founder?
Out of love for our dogma, for our faith, and for our nation. But since you refuse to comply with our orders, you leave us no choice.
Death to the heretics!
May the enlightened protect me in this battle!
Let's see who the enlightened
Face of woman of faith.
Magic is running out.
Face
Take
of
a
woman
potion.
of faith.
Let's see who the enlightened will favor.
With no magic left, drink a potion.
Let's see who the enlightened
I
will
cannot believe
favor.
that I just fought my own brothers in faith. The fact that the Inquisition is after us is very disturbing, Excellency.
We would do well to hasten to San Mateus. They will not dare to attack you there. And we will have to take care of Bishop Domitius. He will do everything he can to discredit us.
You are right. All this proves is that I will not succeed without your help. There is a risk that the Mother Cardinal will also reject our discoveries.
And if you will allow me to attend the hearing, I would be delighted to support you.
Your help will be precious to us, Father. In any case, we must present our research to Mother Cardinal as soon as possible. I will study the tablets one last time to make sure I know all their content, and I will meet you at the palace in San Mateus to plead our case.
Understood. See you soon, Sister Eugenia. Be careful.
Ah, Your Excellency. We were eagerly awaiting your arrival. Sister Eugenia was just recounting me the tale of your achievements and telling me about the incredible discoveries you've made.
These relics shed a new light on the last years of our founder. It all demonstrates that he hadn't evangelized the islanders, but, on the contrary, he would even have adopted some of their rituals, merging the cult of the enlightened and the cult of nature in a single dogma.
These discoveries, if they can be verified, are extraordinary. But they also represent a great upheaval that could harm our nation. We must first verify their authenticity. You are the only ones who entered this cave. Could what you have witnessed been a falsification?
The entrance to the cave was protected by one of those giant creatures that the natives call a nardaig. These guardians usually protect sacred places and let no one enter without a fight. I had to kill this beast, which leads me to think that nobody had entered the cave for a very long time. The cavern we discovered is located in a very remote place. There's no island or village nearby. It contains some ruined dwellings, but clearly no one has lived there for a very long time. Fraudsters would inevitably have left traces of their passage, and we have not found any. We discovered ancient frescoes on the walls of the cave. They represent Saint Mateus without a doubt. He's depicted with his chaplet. In one, he is praying for the divinity of the island. In the other, his face was being painted by a native. I understand how shocking these discoveries are. But their antiquity proves that they are genuine.
The tablets found at the site, however, attest that our founder had not abandoned the cult of the Enlightened. He simply saw it as two different reflections of the same divine power.
The relics could be authentic, Your Excellency, but we only have your word to convince us. The political and religious impact of these discoveries will be unprecedented. We risk schism, civil war, and who is to say that this is not a plan to weaken us?
It seems that you only see the negative aspects of this discovery. But the reality is very different. By integrating some of the natives' beliefs into your dogma, you could build an alliance with them. Something no other nation has managed to achieve before.
It is a good argument, Your Excellency. I hadn't thought about that.
Your Eminence, all of this is grotesque and dangerous. The congregation is clearly trying to ridicule us. Even if these frescoes are real and old, who's to say they represent reality? This is surely the naive vision that the islanders had of our founder, nothing more. Our duty is to bury all this in order to preserve our nation from the heretical beliefs of the savages.
And you have already tried to do that. Brother Virgil, who worked for you, did not hesitate to attack us, and kill several of his colleagues for this purpose.
That's right. And he even tried to blame me to stop me from leading the expedition.
What kind of manipulations and extremes are you willing to go to hide the truth?
Brother Virgil was indeed a member of the Order, but he had obviously descended into madness. This is exactly the kind of effect that such revelations can have, and of which we must be wary.
That's enough, Domitius. An investigation will be launched, and if you were aware of these sabotages, you will answer for it.
Your Eminence, we are faced with a crucial choice for our nation. What does a man of faith do in such a dilemma? He prays and places his trust in the one who came before him and has shown more wisdom. Saint Matthias shows us a new way. If we are believers, can we really turn our backs on him?
You surprise me, Petrus. You who are always so political, yet your words seem sincere. You give me something to think about. Thank you.
If my people knew that the great sage they had long respected is the same man as your saint, and that your priests respected our culture as he did, they would be welcomed here as brothers.
And the Eden we wanted to build would be everywhere. You speak sense, Princess. Does anyone wish to add anything?
I understand your doubts about the future, which are inevitably caused by such a revelation. You hesitate just as St. Lucius did to tell us about the journey of his master. Yet in the end he revealed what he knew, and his words still guide Ptolemy today.
Thank you for your testimony. I will now retire to think about everything and make my decision. After careful consideration, I have decided that it is my duty to reveal your discoveries to the world. It will take years for our theologians to study all of this, but our dogma must follow the path opened by Saint Matthias.
Thank you, Your Eminence. I would be delighted to help with the study of these relics.
I don't doubt it, my dear. And I would like you to take me to see this cave. I look forward to worshipping at the place where our holy founder ended his days. As for you, Your Excellency, I thank you for the help you have given us. Your sincere insight has encouraged me to make this difficult decision.
It was my pleasure.
Let me also thank you, Your Excellency. Without you, we would still be in the shadows.